September 14th, 1945, Nottinghamshire, England. Dawn hadn't broken yet, but fear had. The knock came. Not a scream, not boots pounding toward a cell, not fists slamming for victims. Just 3 slow taps, measured, calm, almost polite. Inside the wooden barracks, 23 German women froze mid-breath. Blankets slipped from shaking hands. The youngest, Greta Schultz, 19, hollow-eyed, starved by war, slid down the wall as if her legs no longer worked. She whispered a prayer she barely remembered. Her mother used to repeat it when Berlin shook under Russian artillery. All their lives they had been taught one truth. If the British capture you, you will not leave with your dignity. Or your life. The Bund Deutscher Makto instructors had drilled it into them. Propaganda posters had screamed it. Mothers had hinted it with tight lips and trembling hands. In the final days, they'd seen it with their own eyes. German girls dragged from cellars, nurses torn from field hospitals, civilian women brutalized as armies surged. "They'll make us strip," Liesel whispered. "Not without a fight," another woman hissed. The knock came again. The door handle turned. And 23 hearts prepared for horror. The door opened, and everything they'd been taught collapsed instantly. No shouting, no guns raised, no leering faces. Just 3 British guards, silhouettes in pale morning light, uniforms neat, boots clean, smelling faintly of soap and tobacco. The oldest, a man with wire-rimmed glasses, spoke slow, careful German. "Good morning. We've brought breakfast." Silence fell so heavy it felt like a physical weight. Breakfast? Not inspection, not humiliation, not violence. The second guard stepped forward, hands visible, body language soft. He placed a brown paper package on the table and unfolded it. The smell hit the women with the force of a memory they'd forgotten they had. Warm bread, soft, golden, real. Beside it, a tin of margarine, a jar of marmalade. A bottle of milk, fresh, impossibly fresh, in a country still under rationing. "We'll return in an hour with hot water," the older guard said. "You can wash. After that, we'll take your names. Eat first." He stepped out. The door clicked shut. Unlocked. They stared not at the food, but at the open freedom of that door. They could have left any time. No one moved for almost a minute. Then Greta, young, starved, terrified, began to cry, and the spell broke. These weren't soldiers. They were clerks, operators, nurses, ordinary women who had been used as tools in a collapsing empire. Liesel, a radio operator. Marguerite, a surgical nurse. Anna, a school teacher turned clerk. Thousands like them spread across the Reich in gray-blue uniforms, told they were the backbone of a glorious 1,000-year future. Instead, they became loose threads in the tapestry of a dying nation. Captured near Kiel, Hamburg, Berlin, handed over as the British advanced. Most German women were released within weeks. But these women carried codes, assignments, fragments of secret communications networks. So they were shipped to Britain. The journey was hell. 200 women packed into a cargo hold that still reeked of ammunition. Air-hot and suffocating. Someone fainted. Someone vomited. Then panic spread like fire. Liesel wrote later, "I truly believed we would die there. Not from war, but from the air disappearing." But they survived. Dragged into the blinding sunlight of Harwich Port, and for the first time in years, they saw green, grass unburnt, houses still standing, children playing. Germany was rubble. Britain looked whole. Greta cried over a simple ham and cheese sandwich wrapped in wax paper. "Why are they feeding us?" "We are the enemy." No one had an answer. The Nottingham facility was a prison, but not the kind they feared. Barbed wire, guard towers, barracks. But also running water, electricity, a kitchen operating 3 times a day. They slept that first night waiting for the trap, the moment when kindness would vanish and cruelty would reveal itself. But morning came, and with it, breakfast. Warm, simple, human. Eat first. That afternoon, a British Red Cross woman arrived. Middle-aged, tired-eyed, unarmed. Medical exams are voluntary. she said through a translator. Voluntary. The word itself felt foreign. Marguerite, the oldest, volunteered first. Marguerite, the oldest, volunteered first. She expected humiliation. She expected pain. Instead, she got a stethoscope on her chest, a lung check, a thermometer, and a penicillin prescription. "That's all?" she asked. The doctor smiled. "Of course. You're a patient, not a prisoner." Marguerite didn't know whether to laugh or collapse. When she returned to the barracks, the women looked at her like she'd come back from a doomed patrol. They treated me like a human, and that was only the beginning, the moment where ideology cracked, where propaganda died, where unexpected kindness began rewriting everything they thought they knew. The girl didn't talk for the next 3 days, not a word, not a sound, not even a breath louder than a whisper. Thomas sat outside her cell every night, listening. The farmhouse turned outpost was silent, only distant artillery and the occasional crack of frozen wood. But inside, the air felt heavy, as if she was holding something inside her chest that could explode at any moment. He wasn't supposed to care. He was just supposed to guard her. But the way she sat upright, alert, eyes tracing every crack in the wall, made him feel like she was the one guarding him. On the 4th morning, Thomas brought her a tin bowl of barley soup, barely warm. He slid it inside and turned to leave. Then a small, shaky voice said, "Thank you." He froze. She hadn't spoken since he cut the chains from her wrists. He turned. "You speak English?" The girl nodded weakly. "Enough," she whispered. "Enough to survive." Her voice was soft, fragile, but her eyes, sharp, calculating, were studying every exit, every movement he made. She wasn't scared. She was observing him. "What's your name?" he asked. Silence. He tried again. "We can't help you if—" "I don't need help," she murmured. "I just need to leave." "That's not happening," he said. She lowered her gaze. Her fingers trembled around the bowl, not from fear, but from hunger. She ate quickly, almost desperately. After a long pause, she lifted her eyes again. "You can call me Anna." Thomas knew instantly. It wasn't her real name, but it was something. A start. That night, the men celebrated capturing a German fuel depot. Spirits were high. Someone baked a crude cake from ration biscuits and melted chocolate bars, a miracle by war standards. Thomas broke off a piece and walked quietly toward the cell. Anna sat exactly where he left her, knees pulled to her chest, blanket wrapped tight. He held the piece through the bars. She stared at it like it was gold. "For me?" she asked. "It's Christmas," he said. "Or close enough." She didn't smile, but her eyes softened. She reached for the cake slowly, as if expecting him to pull it away. He didn't. She ate it in 2 small bites, then whispered, "Your men. They think I'm a traitor too, don't they?" Thomas swallowed. "They think a lot of things," he said quietly. "But I don't know what to believe yet." She reached into her coat pocket. Thomas nearly jumped, hand on his weapon, until she pulled out a small folded photograph. A young boy, maybe 7, smiling with a missing front tooth. "My brother," she said softly. "They told me he was safe, but I don't know anymore." Her hands shook, not like a liar's, not like a spy's, but like someone who had held back tears for too long. Thomas stepped closer. "Anna, why were you tied to that chair? Why did your own soldiers leave you like that?" She closed her eyes. Her shoulders tightened, and in a voice barely human, she whispered, "Because I refused to do what they ordered. I wouldn't help them kill civilians." Thomas felt his stomach drop. So that was it. The brutality he saw wasn't punishment. It was revenge. "Then you're safe now," he said gently. "You're with us." But she shook her head violently. "No, you don't understand." Her breath quickened. Her eyes filled with terror. "Thomas, they're coming back tonight." He froze. "Who?" Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. "The unit that chained me. They're not retreating. They're hunting something. And they think I still have it." Thomas's blood turned cold. "What is it? What are they after?" For the first time, the girl truly looked afraid. She backed into the corner of the cell, arms wrapped around herself. "A codebook," she whispered. "The one that can break your army's messages." The world seemed to stop. If she was telling the truth, every plan, every route, every operation was compromised. "I hid it," she said. "But they think I still have it." Thomas stared at her. She wasn't lying. He could see it in her trembling hands, her cracked voice, her fear. And outside, in the frozen forest, a distant engine rumbled through the night. It was past midnight. Rain hammered against the tin roof of the Nottingham facility. The compound slept, except for Officer Thomas, still staring at Elsa's file under a flickering lamp. Every line felt wrong, every detail incomplete. On the last page sat the photograph he couldn't stop looking at, a German officer, bandaged, Elsa beside him. Her face terrified, his unreadable. Thomas traced the officer's insignia with his thumb. Something about the man bothered him. He wasn't ordinary military. His uniform wasn't standard infantry. Then Thomas saw it, a tiny badge, almost invisible. Communications intelligence. High-ranking. Dangerous. A chill ran through him. If Elsa helped civilians, did she humiliate this officer? Expose him? Cross him? Thomas stepped toward the women's barracks. A faint sound drifted into the hallway. Sobbing. Not loud. The kind buried inside a pillow so no one hears. He peeked inside. Elsa was awake, shaking. Sweat covered her face. Tears streaked down her cheeks, and she whispered the same words again and again. "Bit HR off. HR off. Please. Stop. Stop." Thomas froze. This wasn't guilt. This wasn't fear of interrogation. This was trauma, the kind you get from trusting the wrong person. He stepped back silently. The nightmare she was having? No traitor has nightmares like that. The next morning, Elsa looked pale, exhausted, barely holding herself together. Thomas placed a photograph of the German officer between them. "Who is he?" he asked quietly. Elsa didn't look at the photo. Her eyes fixed on the wall, unmoving, terrified. "Elsa," he whispered, "please. I need to understand why your own people nearly killed you." A minute passed. Then Elsa finally breathed. "You was the one I tried to warn." Thomas blinked. "The German officer?" A slow, painful nod. "I brought him the intercepted message. I begged him to stop the train." "But the train was still bombed," Thomas said. Elsa closed her eyes. Silence. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked. "Because he reported me instead." Thomas felt the blood drain from his face. Elsa finally looked at the photograph. Not with anger, not with hate, with something far worse, a broken kind of loyalty, the kind that survives even betrayal. "What did he accuse you of?" Thomas asked gently. "Treason. Giving information to the British, sabotage. But all you did was try to warn them." Elsa's voice trembled. "I thought he would help me. I thought he would do the right thing. I thought—" The words died in her throat. Thomas leaned closer. "Elsa, did you trust him?" A single tear slid down her cheek. "I loved him." Silence filled the room. There it was, the truth the Germans wanted to bury. The truth they beat her for. Elsa Krauss, a German auxiliary, fell in love with a German intelligence officer who sacrificed her to save himself. Thomas swallowed. "Elsa, tell me his name." Elsa stiffened. Her face shut down. Her eyes emptied. "No." Thomas nearly slammed his hands on the table. "Elsa, that man nearly had you killed." She stared at him, cold, broken, faithful to a fault. "If I speak his name, they will hang him." "He betrayed you," Thomas said. Elsa shook her head. "Not denying it, accepting it. You made a choice. War makes monsters of us all." "And what does silence make you?" Her voice cracked. "Someone who refuses to become like him." As Elsa was escorted out, a junior clerk burst into Thomas's office. "Sir, urgent. A coded letter arrived from Germany. It mentions a POW, Elsa Krauss." Thomas ripped it open. Inside was only one line. but it shattered everything. If the prisoner is alive, keep her so. We are coming for her. No signature, no name. But Thomas recognized the handwriting from the photograph. The officer wasn't finished with Elsa. He was coming to Britain. For her, cut to black. Thomas placed the mysterious note under the lamp. One line, no signature. But the handwriting, the curve of the letters, it matched the officer in the photograph. He wasn't done with Elsa, and he was coming here. A decoding specialist entered, rubbing his eyes. Sir, we've analyzed the ink and the phrasing. Thomas waited. This wasn't written yesterday. The message was smuggled out of Germany weeks ago. Thomas frowned. Meaning? The specialist swallowed. Meaning the sender may already be in Britain. Thomas stormed into the barracks. Elsa sat on her bunk, staring at her hands like they didn't belong to her. She looked up slowly and froze when she saw the paper in his hand. Is that from him? She whispered. Thomas didn't answer. He held it out. Elsa read the single line. Her breath shook. Her fingers went numb. He's alive, she whispered. Her face changed, pale, terrified, yet somehow relieved. Thomas knelt in front of her. Elsa, why would he come for you? Elsa shook her head violently. He shouldn't. He can't. He must not. This wasn't longing. It wasn't love. It was fear, deep, gut-wrenching, instinctive fear. And Thomas realized Elsa wasn't afraid of him dying. She was afraid of him arriving. Thomas marched into the archives, demanding Elsa's restricted files, the ones stamped, restricted by order of MI7. Inside the folder were maps of German intelligence stations, a list of intercepted calls, and a final page marked Suspect, H. Klein, Rank, Oberleutnant, Role, Counterintelligence, Status, Missing. But the most important part was the analyst's handwritten note, highly manipulative, suspected of coercing female auxiliaries. Multiple disappearances linked to him. If captured, treat with highest caution. Thomas felt sick. This wasn't a love story. It wasn't betrayal. This man, Heinrich Klein, was a predator. He used women. He used Elsa, and when she tried to warn civilians, he sacrificed her to protect himself. Thomas returned to her and placed Klein's file before her. Elsa, look at me. He wasn't your lover. He was using you. Elsa's eyes filled with tears, not from denial, but from recognition. I know, she whispered. Thomas froze. Then why protect him? Elsa's voice trembled. Because if I speak, the British will hunt him, the Germans will kill him, and he will kill anyone who tries to reach me. Her lips shook. I don't want more blood because of me. For the first time, Thomas understood. She wasn't loyal to Klein. She was terrified of becoming the reason more people died. She refused to let war take one more life, even his. The alarm rang at 3:14 a.m. A guard had spotted a shadow slipping past the outer fence. Tall, military posture, coat collar raised, moving straight toward the barracks. Thomas sprinted through the mud. The figure was already at the door. Stop! British military police! Thomas shouted. The man turned just slightly, enough for Thomas to see the outline of a German officer's cap beneath the darkness. Heinrich Klein. He bolted. Guards chased him through the rain. Boots slammed on wet gravel. A shot fired. Then another. Klein vanished into the tree line, swallowed by the night. He was gone. Elsa sat alone in the interrogation room when Thomas entered, soaked, exhausted, furious. He was here, Elsa. He tried to reach you. Elsa didn't react. She stared at the wall. He always finds me. Thomas lowered his voice. Elsa, why did he risk his life to come back? She closed her eyes. Not for me, for what I know. Thomas froze. What do you know? Elsa finally looked at him, the fear stripped away, the truth exposed. I wasn't the only one who tried to warn the British. Someone else helped me. Someone Klein must never find, Thomas whispered. Who? Elsa answered. His own sister. A beat. A breath. A revelation that rewrote everything. Fade to black.